welcome back with our final conversation for this morning. Joining us via Zoom all the way from California is none other than Jada Augustine from Jada's Got Your Bag Pack. And she is joining us live in Zoom. How are you, Jada? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. It is about, I want to say 6:55 in
Yeah,
California.
6:56 my
Six,
time.
all
Yeah,
right. So we're an hour ahead. So you're getting ready to go to work.
I know. Yes, I am. I'm
So,
getting prepared.
so the last time you were here was about 5 years ago, Jada. Let's talk about Jada's Got Your Backpack when you first established yourself and how you're doing now.
Yes, when I came on the show, yes, it was 5 years ago, and there's this feeling of nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
Because 5 years ago, I was moving from California to DC to pursue my graduate degree in speech pathology. So I wasn't even a speech therapist yet. I was just doing my initiative as a undergraduate student going into my graduate endeavors. So it was super exciting, but it was like a big transition for me. So that in that 5 years, I've been able to accomplish a lot for the nonprofit, and I've been able to change a lot of the initiatives. It started out with me giving backpacks and school supplies, and now I'm actually servicing kids in Belize with speech therapy, occupational therapy, and behavior therapy. So it's changed. Yeah,
Wow.
5 years.
Congratulations.
Thank
Let's
you.
talk about the significance of the speech therapist. Last week on the show, we were talking about Autism Month, and of
Right.
course, being able to have access to speech therapists for the different levels of autism. So let's get
Mhm.
into that necessity of speech therapy and what is your specialization?
Yes, speech therapy is super important. I actually work in the schools and I also am a private speech therapist. So I see the impact of speech therapy every day, not just because I'm a speech therapist, not
Mm-hmm.
hyping myself up, but I see how much parents, and families rely on us and want to hear our expertise. And we want to see, the students make adequate progress. And, speech therapy is just not only about the sounds, it's also language. So you can have a language disorder, you can have an articulation disorder, a fluency disorder, which is like stuttering, voice. Like there's so much that encompasses in speech, and it's super important. So being able to give that to Belize for free by specialized therapists is a big deal because it's very expensive. Speech therapy is
Yes.
not cheap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the way that you were able to reach out. So you said you started with backpacks, and is this the
Mhm.
same? Are these the same communities that you've been reaching out to provide your services?
Well, at first with the backpacks, I was more so in Dangriga because that's where my family's from. I'm super proud Garifuna, so I was giving back to that community. Stan Creek was like the main community I was giving to. But then when I started giving the services, I met with the ministry and I was able to get, officers in like different places to send students to us and get intake for kids all over Belize to get services. We have kids in Cayo, kids in Belize City, kids in Dangriga, PG, like that are getting telehealth services. So it's not just like kids in Dangriga anymore. It's everybody. So I wanted to expand that and give everybody a chance, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask in a similar vein if whether based on the work that you're doing, the feedback that you've gotten from the people you work with and maybe other members of the community about the importance of offering these types of services and and how big of a need there is in Belize
Mm-hmm.
across the country.
Yeah, there's such a big need. There's a shortage of speech pathologists here in the US, in LA. Like there's like I could get a job really quickly because there's such a huge need. Not a lot of the grad schools is super hard to get in. So I could only imagine in Belize, right? So I knew that there was that big need, and the parents have given me great feedback. Actually, this morning, one of the teachers, he was talking about one of the students, her social skills have improved since the 4 months of her receiving speech therapy. She sees a need to communicate more with her peers. So just getting feedback like that on a regular basis is what like motivates me to continue the program, even though it's of no cost. There's been amazing speech therapists all around the country here, like Atlanta, Chicago, LA, New York, my friends that have been servicing these kids in Belize for free for 3 to 4 months, which is a big deal because they're already so busy with their day-to-day lives.
Oh, yeah. And, for perhaps some of the benefit of some of our viewers who may be watching and may be interested, what are, what might be examples of children or persons who might need speech therapy, or what can it address?
Yeah, and again, like speech therapy, there's so many subgroups, right? Like I
Yeah.
said, the language disorders, the voice, the articulation, but with autism, and that's my specialty. I'm actually pursuing a doctoral degree at UCLA, and that's my dissertation I'm going to be working on, which is autism in Caribbean families and how they respond to that. So what you will usually see is like a kid not being able to answer WH questions. Where are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Like those abstract questions. Or you might see a kid that's not able to answer yes, no questions. That's going into like the language part of it. Then the artic, which is more the obvious, maybe they can't say the S sound or the R sound, and it's affecting them in the classroom because they're getting teased by their peers. Or why do you say stuff like that? Or why do you do that? Or it might be a sensory issue. They constantly have to get up and down, sit up and down, like they can't stay in one place for an allotted period of time. They have to work on their social skills. They go up to you and they might just like touch you without your permission, right? And autism doesn't have a look. There's not a look to autism, maybe opposed to like Down syndrome. There's like phenotype with it. So people are like, why is this person touching me? They're weird, or why are they doing that? This kid is like bad, which is what I hear a lot. And they're not bad. It's just that they don't understand like maybe those social cues or those language cues. You know what I'm saying? So those are like some of the things that you might see from a baby. It might be joint attention. They don't look you in the eye. They don't respond to their name. You could say Jared, 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 and they're in their own world. That's what most parents describe it as. When I try to, call them, they don't listen. And it's like, not that they're not listening, there might be something deeper that is rooted there. So that's what I work with, if that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
No, well, I guess for parents that are seeking this kind of help or might not even know that this is the kind of help that they're seeking, I suppose, there's a stutter count or there's a lisp count. And
Yes.
Right. So when we're talking about the different forms of speech therapy, it ranges from lows to high levels.
Yes, exactly. There's not like one thing. There's
Right.
so many things that a kid could come to speech therapy for. Some kids come to speech therapy because their volume is low, their voice.
Yeah.
Some kids come because their voice is very nasally and you need to work on the sounds, cleft palate. So there's so much, like I can't even say everything that I do, but most of the ones that we see currently is autism, and there's a huge like diagnosis of a lot of autism nowadays, and it's more prevalent. So I think people are more aware of it.
Yeah. When you come and you offer your services, are you doing more of the low-level types of therapy? Is that what you focus on, or do you get like a list and then you work from there?
Well, we do teletherapy.
Okay.
So the families, I pair off the families with the therapist, and then the therapist and the families agree on a time. And then we get all types of students, honestly. Like the parents just fill out our case history form, and we kind of don't know what we're getting. Like until the therapist meets and they're like, Jada, this kid is like low functioning autism and this is telehealth. How are we going to do this? So we don't know what we're really getting. The parents don't really know what they're getting. So it's kind of like a surprise once they meet via telehealth. And most of our services have turned into like a lot of parent training, especially for the kids that are not able to sit down and do speech therapy over a computer. That's, kind of hard. So it's mostly the therapist giving the parent tips and giving them activities to do and showing them how to do it via online. And then we do have some higher functioning kids that come on that are able to sit down for the 30 minutes and do the session with their therapist. So it honestly ranges
Yeah.
on a day-to-day with, the therapist. They don't know what they're getting. It's a nice surprise.
How long does the session? How long do the sessions last when you all come?
The sessions are 30 minutes.
Okay.
So they got 30 minutes. The sessions, it's not only paired with a session, they go through a whole evaluation process. So they get a speech and language evaluation. They get something called like SOAP notes, which are notes from each session that they get. And they also get a lesson. They get lesson plans. They get resources.
Wow.
Some of the therapists have been so nice enough to create an AAC, which is augmentative and alternative communication. They created boards and they shipped them out to Belize, or when I go to Belize, I've delivered them to parents so that the kids can use them.
That's
So these therapists are really like in love with the families in Belize. They are. So
How,
it's great to see.
how often do you come, and how do people solicit your services?
Yes. I come to Belize like once a year because my family is down there. Most of my family is in Dangriga. So I'm able to go at least once a year, in the summers. And how people can get the services is they could follow us at Jada's Got Your Backpack on Instagram, and they could DM us. And then my assistant, she will be able to send out like the case history form. And then when there's an open spot, then we will be able to put them on. We just finished our cohort like last week.
Okay.
So we are having our next cohort probably maybe in June or July. So there's another opportunity to be on board.
What do the parents say when you guys come into town and you have all of these lessons and these sessions and the results that they get once they have done their consultation services? What is the results? What are the people saying?
Yeah. Well, the parents haven't met the therapist in person just yet because
Okay.
it's via telehealth. But actually, this August, the therapists are coming to Belize to meet their families. And I've been working on that project for them to meet their families for the first time. And I know a lot of them are going to show them that Belizean hospitality. So
Yes.
they're super excited. They've never been to Belize, and now they get to meet the kid in person. A lot of the families, again, they love their therapist and vice versa. They still have a relationship even after the 3 to 4 months is done. Some therapists have even I had a therapist give a family 6 months of free therapy.
Wow.
Yeah, because she loved that family so much. So it honestly depends on the therapist, but I always just tell them you have to give at least 3 to 4 months, like minimum, to like be a part of it. But some therapists have gone obviously above and beyond for their families. And I don't think the families have, anything like they can't express how much love and gratitude they have for them, and vice versa. They've learned a lot about Belize, from Mayan culture to Garifuna culture to Creole. Like my friends are so more privy now. So when I talk to them, like, you actually understand what Hudud is. You actually understand this. You understand that. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see. Yeah, it's great.
How do you get other therapists to come on board? Do you find them on your own? Do you have a space where they can sign up to assist you?
These therapists are my friends because both of my degrees are in speech pathology. So I have people I know from undergrad and I know people from grad school. And then I am super involved in the field. I have really great mentors in the field that are like ASHA fellows, which are like the top SLPs. One of my professors was like the SLP president for the whole nation. So I have great contacts. So I use those great contacts to get people on board and ask them to be a part of the initiative. So that's what I've been able to, do. Just say, hey, do you want to give this services you want to give back and volunteer, you're not getting any money for it, but there's other things you could get from it that are more, important than money. And we always say as speech therapists, we want to cultivate other people. So this is an opportunity to cultivate people outside of the US, internationally. So it's been great to do that.
And we talked a little bit about the 5 years since since your first time on the show. Now that we're here, what are some of your goals looking forward and for the future that you want to see realized?
Yeah, some of my goals. Well, to finish my PhD program,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a lot. I would say that, and my PhD program is 5 years.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think that's like the main emphasis right now. And to do my research, like I said, with kids with autism in the Caribbean, and be able to do that research for people to learn more about it because it's not talked about. We hear about autism in the States or other places, but we don't talk about it with these families, and possibly like write a book on it so that I could teach my students, because I'm hoping to go into academia and being a professor instead of being the SLP, so I'll be teaching. So those are some of the my personal goals. And then my goals for the program is for it to continue to thrive and for people in Belize to be more educated about speech and language pathology. And also, that's not the only services we give. It's also occupational therapy, and working with that, and also behavior therapy and working with kids with autism, and not saying that they're bad and we're going to lash them, but finding ways to, learn about their disability and learn how to work with them and being privy to that. So those are some of the goals that I would have. Just a mass amount of like education and knowledge for people, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Once you have that, there's a lot of success that can be, for the student, for the teacher. And we do a lot of teacher trainings too as well. There's teachers that reach out to us and ask us, what can we do? I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So just continuing that momentum is something that's really important for me.
Jada, I can't express how awesome this initiative is. Once
Thank you.
again, for our viewers, how can people reach out to you, either to assist you or to get services from you?
Yes, again, on the Jada's Got Your Backpack on Instagram, or there's also on Facebook. They could reach out either way and somebody will respond to them. I'm so big on responding. I'm like, let me respond immediately before I forget. So they don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, she's not going to respond. I'm not going to hear from her. I will, even if there's not a spot, I'll tell them like, hey, just wait out, and we'll give you a spot when it's appropriate. But how the program is moving, honestly, we continuously have students in the program, and our wait list is actually like getting smaller and smaller and smaller, which is great. So now they can make it higher and higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
that's good.
Do you have plans to go outside of Belize with this initiative?
I have. I actually have gone outside of Belize.
Okay.
I work with the University of the West Indies in Trinidad called UWI. I work with Dr. Kiara Matthews, and I have grad students from Trinidad that also give services to kids in Belize. So it's not only the speech therapists I have here in the US, I also have Trinidad that I'm working with. And those grad students are in speech language pathology, and they get hours for training these parents. Obviously, we have supervisors in those sessions, so they're not doing it alone. They have me and other colleagues that are already like certified with them in the sessions. But it's great because they get hours, the kids get services, and we get to supervise. So it's really cool. That's our other part of our initiative. It's just a lot going on.
You have to come
There's
back,
a lot of
and
things going
when you
on, yeah.
do come to Belize, you have to come and then talk to us about the overwhelming experiences that you've had
Right.
here.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, but it's overwhelming. And I know that there's people, this is my purpose, and my purpose is bigger than me. So I know that with my purpose, a lot of people are affected. So it doesn't feel like work. It's fun for me. And my friends are like, how do you do it? I'm type A, so that plays a part too in why I could do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's great to give back to my people in a grand way. And I just want to thank, my family and my friends. My mom and dad are like my biggest advocates. And, they're Garifuna, they're from Dangriga. And for them to have their daughter do something on this level, I know that they're extremely proud. And I couldn't have done it without them.
I hope they're watching.
They're at work, but they're going to watch later.
They'll watch later.
They'll watch later.
Well, Jada, I will not keep you because I know you do have to go to work, but thank you so much for stopping in and sharing more about your
Thank you.
initiatives.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.